Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AskReddit. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. What are some interesting or fun Christmas traditions you follow? Oh my gosh, I love this. When we were younger, my parents had a tradition with us. We would always go out into the front yard with my dad to find the perfect pine cone. Maybe a week or two before Christmas, we planted the pine cone in a pot and watered it. Then overnight, it would become this magnificent, huge, to my young eyes, and fully decorated Christmas tree. It only worked in December, and we were always told it was the Christmas magic. Then my sister and I figured it out when we found pine needles in my parents' car, haha. Each year we cut a round off the bottom of our Christmas tree. We label it with the year. Over time it makes a sweet display/reminder of years past. My wife and I started doing this after we got married. We also got a wood-burning tool to engrave the year, and an image to represent something significant from the year, then turn them into ornaments. For instance, when we traveled a lot one year we did a compass. Makes me wish I had the energy to manage a real tree with young kids and pets. We have signs all over our house spelling out Leon instead of Noel. It started out as a joke because my dad is dyslexic, but it stuck and we even named our dog Leon, and we've been doing it since I can remember. I always changed my mother-in-law's Noel candles to say El No. She would ask me if I did it, and I'd say El No. She found me amusing and I miss her. My family does this too, has been for decades. My grandparents have these Noel candle holders and everyone will sneakily rearrange them into Leon when they're not looking. Then my grandparents put them back and repeat all season. They said on a recent Zoom they're sad that nobody will be there in person this year to spell Leon. My family has a tradition of leaving riddles on cards and guessing what the gift is before opening. We go around one by one, reading our hint out loud so everyone can guess, then open it and show the room. Ends up taking like 5 hours for everyone to get through their gifts, but it's always a fun time. This sounds really cool. 5 hours is kind of long, but I like the idea of having a family activity rather than ripping through presents so quickly you don't remember who gave you what, and by a few days later you don't even remember what you got. My parents were broke when I was a kid, but you'd never know it from Christmas. They always went all out, put money on credit cards, etc. One Christmas we were particularly broke, but Dad went out and spent, probably most, of his paycheck on last-minute gifts. When we got home, my mom had been with us all day, and since there was no money, she hadn't gone food shopping. All we had were some cheap hot dogs and canned beans. My parents put the beans in a pot over the fire, grabbed the hot dog cooker from when we went camping, and threw the dogs on over the fire too. My sister and I loved it so much, we did it again the following Christmas. Eventually we weren't quite so poor. The $2 A&P hot dogs became Nathan's, then Sabrats, then Butcher Bratwursts. The beans went to B&M, then eventually fancy gourmet shit. But my sister and I are now adults with our own families, and even on years where we're not together, our entire family has hot dogs and beans on Christmas Eve. A tradition we had when I was a child, and one I'll be continuing with my children when I have them, is the Christmas Eve box. For Christmas Eve, we were given one gift early, and it was a box with Christmas pajamas, a mug, hot chocolate mix, popcorn, and a Christmas movie. We would get to open it around lunchtime, and we'd spend the rest of the evening in our new jammies having cocoa and movies together. Poor Christian, giving his pajamas away. My brother and I stay at my mother's house on Christmas Eve with our families every year. We still sit at the top of the stairs on Christmas morning until my mother tells us we can come down to the living room to see what Santa left us. We're both in our 30s and our wives and kids now sit on the stairs as well. It's getting pretty crowded, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Ha! My mom always made us wait at the top of the stairs, so she could make sure Santa was really gone. Also, every year she'd say, well, the dogs sure were barking at something around 2 this morning. My uncle always hosts Christmas at his house since family comes from all over, and he has beds for everyone to stay over. On his property is about an 150-foot diameter pond. Every Christmas morning we wake up and build a giant bonfire to get ready for the impending shock we will feel later on around noon. We also try to get a decent drunk blanket going, for those that are of our family's required drinking age, just in case. Come noon on Christmas Day, we do the polar plunge to rid ourselves of last year's crap, and look forward to next year. We huddle around this bonfire while my grandpa passes around shots to help warm up because that pond is fucking freezing. 28 years ago, I was one of the first 100 customers at an H-E-B grand opening. For that honor I got 2 cans of this. That Christmas we had a fun dollar store white elephant exchange with the family Christmas Eve. I wrapped a can of the potted meat as my contribution. My mom got it and got a real kick out of it. She immediately re-gifted it to me the next day. Well, next year I wrapped it and gave it to my sister, the year after that she wrapped it and gave it to my dad. For the last 28 years this has been the most coveted gift of Christmas. I gave it to my son last year, and he happily wrapped it for his cousin this Christmas. Every Christmas the kids in the house have wrapping paper put over the entrances to their rooms, so they get to rip through it in the morning. It originally started as a way to keep a certain kid in when he kept coming out early and opening presents before everyone was awake. My husband's family did this too. Except they would wrap the doorway to the living room and everyone would have to wake up, get dressed, and have a big sit-down breakfast before they could bust through the wrapping paper barrier and get to the presents. I cannot imagine how you could get 4 kids to be that patient, but somehow his mother managed it. Every year my family buys each other member a gag/joke/small gift, then writes a poem about it, for the recipient to read on Christmas Eve. It's probably the highlight of the entire season for me, as it's always filled with laughter at how terrible we all are at poetry. No matter how old we all get, this is a really fun way to bring everyone back to that root joy of spending time together. This year it will be virtual, but still fun. Do you leave the presents under the poetry? Sounds like some Dutch Sinterklaas tradition got to you. The poem with a present is very common then, on the 5th of December. Wife and I order from the same Chinese restaurant every Christmas Eve. We eat from there almost exclusively on Christmas Eve. We don't do much Chinese through the year regularly. Started one Christmas Eve when we were both feeling lazy and hasn't stopped. 12 plus years now. A traditional Jewish Christmas. Source: AM Jewish. This is what we are doing this year. I am pumped for some fried rice and whatever protein smothered in whatever. We have quite a few. We open Christmas season by putting up the tree the day after Thanksgiving and watching Polar Express. We've done this for so long that my 20 and 17-year-olds have no memory of not doing it, and my 13-year-old has never had a Christmas where we didn't do this. My youngest and I make a list of holiday movies, and keep track of all the ones we watch. We shoot for one movie a day starting December 1st up until Christmas, with some movies earmarked for specific days. We also watch as many holiday-themed episodes of our favorite TV shows as we can. The weekend before Christmas is when we make hot cocoa, pile into the car, put on Christmas music, and drive around to look at light displays. December 23rd is Cookie Day. I get up early and spend the day baking. I always make way too much. The kids help when they get up. I watch A White Christmas in the morning, and we watch Christmas with the Cranks in the afternoon. This also happens to be the anniversary of my mom-in-law passing. We always buy a Christmas bouquet of flowers and tell stories about her. The kids were young when she died, so they have a foggy memory. They like to hear about her. She was an amazing grandma. Christmas Eve is when we hand out new pajamas and watch Home Alone. Home Alone is our favorite Christmas movie, so we cap off the season with it. Christmas Day is usually when I do this incredible barbecue brisket. This year we did that early in the month, and are having a simple meat and cheese spread for Christmas Day. That way I can spend less time in the kitchen and more time playing board games and video games. For the past decade, Santa has made it a habit of bringing us all Steam gift cards and a huge stack of board games. Pajamas all day, good food, board games. It's perfect. Something a little different, I suppose. We always have lasagna Christmas Eve, day before Christmas Eve. We also open our presents Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day, but on Christmas Day we would always go to our grandparents' house to open presents with them. Is it normal to open presents in Christmas Day, 25th, where you live? Here in Germany, it's normal to have presents on Christmas Eve, 24th, but my family always does it on Christmas Day instead, which is strange here. In Poland it's normal to open presents after Christmas Eve dinner, which itself is quite interesting. It should consist of 12 non-meat dishes, lots of fishes though. Shaker present. Shake present, ask yes or no questions, you figure it out before Christmas, you open it. I like this. I'm guessing at least at some point someone wrapped something super fragile for the joke, right? My dad did this at a Kris Kringle once. He got wet. Turns out it was a goldfish in a bowel bowl. My grandpa would always get up on the roof about an hour after our bedtime and stomp around on the roof with sleigh bells. That's some wholesome dedication. As soon as this pandemic is over, and we can once again have Christmas gatherings, my sister and I can get back to smacking the hell out of each other with cardboard wrapping paper tubes. We're in our 50s, BTW. Cardboard tubes are the best. I save all of my tubes for sword fights with my 3-year-old. Sometimes I tell her that daddy's a dragon and she should attack to steal his gold, lol. Every year for the last 8 years my sister and I gift each other a weird thing that makes the other one laugh. It started with when our house almost got repossessed just before Christmas and everything was so terrible that we just wanted to make each other laugh. Highlights include 12 packs of frozen potato smiley faces to resolve a long-forgotten childhood argument, 3 chocolate tubes filled with tinny rubber ducks instead of chocolate, a lucky dip which involved hiding small gifts in socks, and this year a bag of potatoes with Nicolas Cage's face blue tacked on every individual potato. My brother and I had a VHS tape of Elmo Saves Christmas that we gave each other for Christmas for a decade. I'm stealing your Nicolator Cage idea. Every year my wife and I buy an ornament for our tree that corresponds with something that happened that year. So we have a tree filled with all of these weird wacky ornaments like a tennis ball. We started playing tennis that year, Swedish Chef, Europe trip, ship Captain Nutcracker, our first cruise, amongst many others. It's such a fun tradition in December to debate what we to get and then finding something. And then reliving them all when we put them up. I'm assuming this year's ornament is a roll of toilet paper? Every year we leave Santa a beer. He needs it. Santa also prefers Tecate. Santa has rosy cheeks, a large belly, and talks to animals. Classic traits of alcoholism. They don't get Tecate up north, where he lives. It's a luxury to Santa. My husband and I celebrate Bookmas. On December 26th, we get all of the book money people sent us for Christmas and buy a giant stack of books. Then we go home, change into our PJs and spend the day reading books, drinking hot chocolate, and eating some of the snacks people gave us for Christmas. My husband had a very tough upbringing, so we are trying to instill in our daughter how blessed she is to have the opportunities and experiences she does. Each year, we have to do a Christmas clean or a birthday clean. Each of us need to go through our things and donate the things we no longer need to someone else. The rules are if you would be sad to receive that, you aren't allowed to gift it. Only because I don't want her thinking she can pass on her broken toys to someone else to get new toys. This year my daughter who is 5.5 was able to complete her task alone. She went through her things and donated 8 brand new toys that would be of interest to her, still in the packaging to a foster organization. She passed on 4 princess dresses that no longer fit her. I told her how proud I was of her for being so kind and she said that she knows she's lucky, and she knows that her cousins aren't so lucky, so maybe some of the things she's gifted to other children can make it back to her cousins this year. Bonus is, my house doesn't fill up with things not being used. Thank you for the awards and such lovely comments. I'm sure many families out there have a similar tradition to share too. I'm Catalan, meaning I follow Catalan Christmas traditions. In Catalonia, Barcelona's the capital, we've got 2 fun, or at the very least, interesting traditions. I want to preface this by assuring you all that I'm not making this up, Google it if you don't trust me. Here it goes. 1. It's El Tío de Nadal, Yule log, colloquially called Caga Tío. A translation would be crapping log, or something similar. Tío is a cut log with a painted face on the cut surface, and a red cap, a traditional Catalan hat called barretina. We've got it at home, typically under the Christmas tree, often covered with a blanket, God forbid Tío gets cold. During the weeks before Christmas, kids give some food to their Tío, mandarins, bananas, biscuits, every night. When they wake up gasps Tío has eaten it all. The parents remove the food, but the little ones are oblivious to that, OBS. The idea behind it is that we want Tío to eat a lot so that he can, poop a lot. Why? Well, Tío is a magical log that poops presents. Yes, Caga Tío is our Santa Claus equivalent. How exactly does a log poop though? Easy. Kids need to grab a stick and hit TO repeatedly while singing a song that basically says, /translation, crap, TO. Crap hazelnuts and pine nuts nougat. If you don't behave yourself, I'll hit you with my stick. Crap, TO. Note that this is just one version. There are others. After that, the kids lift the blanket and usually get nougat, other Spanish and Catalan Christmas sweets, chocolate, and toys. I got my first bike thanks to TO back when I was 3, so presents can be big XD. Parents just need to hide the presents under the blanket, unseen by the children, before the song/hitting ritual begins. Children love it. 2. We've got another scatological tradition called El Caganer. This is a figurine we add to the nativity scene/manger, not sure what it's called in English, sorry. The thing is that El Caganer means the crapper. It's a figurine which shows a shepherd typically dressed in traditional Catalan clothes, including that barretin a TO also wears, squatting while he defecates. It may seem offensive, but the Catholic Church is okay with it, as the poop symbolizes fertility for the land where Jesus is born. El Caganer is so famous some people buy celeb Caganers. There's a Trump version, a Rosalia version, a Harry Potter version, a Merkel version, and so on. Why are Catalans obsessed with poop? Nobody really knows. Don't ask me. We celebrate more traditions, both Catalan and Spanish, but these two are the funniest. If I talked about them all, this post would be even longer XD. Happy, safe holidays from Catalonia. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.